Good morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we know where we're going to wait for Commissioner Shivakula, and so disregard the gavel. He should. We're going to get started right away because there is one item that has to be done expeditiously, and it involves a legal matter that we don't want to annoy any judges or anything of that sort, do we, guys? No, don't annoy the judge. Would you please stand for the flag salute?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public notice statement, please.
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Publics Meeting Act. Notice have been posted at the board's office and have been delivered to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Holden? Here. Commissioner Solomon? Here. Commissioner Shivakula?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
President Fiorliso?
Here. Next regularly scheduled meeting?
Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 8, 2020 at 10 a.m. State House Annex, Committee Room 11.
Thank you. We started early today, as obviously you know, but first of all, I want to welcome everyone here in the audience and those who are watching us via the live streaming. The board will be going into executive session to address item 3A, a cable vision item or cable television item, Item 8B, clean energy item, 8C, D, K, L, all clean energy items. And the board will take action on these items in regular session. We anticipate that the executive session will last about an hour. Will the Attorney General please read, office, please explain the justification for going into executive session?
Yes, good morning. The board is going into executive session pursuant to exceptions to the Open Public Meetings Act found at NJSA 10:4-12B7, particularly for item 3A. It's the pending litigation exception and attorney-client privilege exception. For items 8B, 8C, 8D, 8K, and 8L, it's the contract negotiation exception.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to go into executive session? Second. All those in favor? Aye. We're in executive session. We should be out hopefully within the hour. Well, we're actually out 5 minutes early from executive session. I did expect a standing ovation for that, but I guess we're not getting that. Okay. Nobody pays attention to me. No. We're now out of executive session. I thank you for your patience, and we will now start with the regular agenda. Do you have any consent agenda items?
On the following consent agenda items, 1A, 2A, 4A, and 9A.
So moved.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiorelliso?
Yes.
That's it.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to have some opening remarks today, and with your indulgence, I'd like to start off. Something happened yesterday at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission that adversely affects New Jersey. We are extremely disappointed that the FERC, for the decision they made yesterday regarding the expansion of the minimum offer price rule, or MOPR. The decision made by FERC clearly flies in the face of our state's clean energy initiatives by eliminating a critical revenue stream for those resources. In making this decision, FERC has shown a callous disregard for the health and safety of the citizens of New Jersey. As the board continues to review FERC's decision, we will take all reasonable steps to ensure that New Jersey residents, workers, and small businesses will have an affordable, carbon-neutral, clean energy future. New Jersey's jurisdiction over its generating resources remains. We will continue to drive forward the state's robust solar and offshore wind programs. The state of New Jersey will not be deterred. Let me say that again. The state of New Jersey will not be deterred as we move forward to implement Governor Murphy's vision for 100% clean energy by 2050. We will not be deterred, regardless of the number of roadblocks that are thrown in front of us. We will continue to pursue what we believe is right and what's right for the citizens of New Jersey. And I know we look forward to working with PJM as we move down this road. I believe the order actually came out at midnight or thereafter last night. We are in the process, that's for transparency's sake, because a lot of people are up at midnight and want to read an order. We are in the process of reviewing that order, line by line, comma by comma, period by period. And it's something that I assure you, we will do everything within our power to protect the citizens of New Jersey. Any comments, my fellow commissioners? Yes.
Well, first, I want to thank Cynthia Holland and her FERC staffers for very strong and compelling arguments that she put forward with practical logic, which doesn't seem to sell today at FERC. When FERC's ruling was announced, being a student of history, the Civil War came to mind. What of states' rights? And is it time to secede from PJM's capacity market? I want to put blame for this outrageous, yet not surprising, determination squarely where it belongs, on the shoulders of PJM, and particularly as orchestrated by its now departed leadership troika, whose arrogance in relations with its members and with stakeholders, ignoring the stakeholder process by just 1 year ago stating in essence, we don't care what you stakeholders offer, this is what you'll do. It was that leadership that led the battle to FERC in an effort to prove that PJM's own capacity auction was flawed, unjust, and unreasonable when it was operating just fine for 20 years. Stakeholders rebelled and clamored for the status quo. PJM chose to not support its member states, but instead its fossil-fueled, power-producing comrades who have most voting power in the stakeholder process. However, just as it's extremely painstakingly difficult to put the toothpaste back in the tube, member states are now left with ancient theories of load expectation and back to the days of behemoth central power generation versus PJM and its FERC's failure to recognize the customer and its need and want for control, efficiency, and clean resources, and the national direction of grid modernization, where significant amounts of load are being supplied locally, all promoting flexibility. In practical terms, the nonsense of the capacity market also always assured the I can't read I'm writing this at midnight, so that they're power-producing buddies of PJM that would be paid whether they ran or not. In fact, if anything, member states saw as flawed was the insufficient fining and enforcement if these capacity sources failed to run when called upon. Talk about propping up a resource. This is sheer hypocrisy when in the same breath, zero-emission credits are attacked as nuclear does run all the time. By example, this is separate and apart from the fact that as stated in their name, zero-emission credits, the ZECs are not at all about payment for capacity, but rather recognition of their environmental attributes. It is an externality that is at the core of Congress's intention in the Federal Power Act, where it gave states authority over generation facilities and mix. And just why are coal and natural gas subsidies given a pass? Why draw a line at only carbon-neutral sources? Ultimately, to preserve New Jersey's public policies and pull out of the capacity market, surely other states will follow, ending competitive, long-term energy markets. This, indeed, is not only sad, but demands deep thought.
Thank you. And I just want to add one thing, if I may. I failed to mention in my comments that we have initiated contact with our congressional delegation because there has to be, we believe, and we're not sure of this yet, possible legislation in Congress to right the wrong that has been done. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it is another example of federal government failing the states. The states have the opportunity to create their own policies, especially in the presence of climate change issues, and federal government does not have any answers to that. And not only they're withdrawing from the Paris Summit and Paris Agreement, and they have also disabling the states' ability to do their own actions. And this is another example of how the FERC just totally insensitive to the requirements of the state of New Jersey, which has quite clearly articulated why we need to do this, and in terms of whether it's offshore wind energy, solar energy, or other electrification of transportation, we have come up with our own policies. And again, it goes to say that the states have been the laboratories of democracy, and the federal government's inaction enabled the RGGI, Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, where the northeastern states, even states like Pennsylvania and Virginia, are planning to join the RGGI, and somehow federal government has failed to recognize that, and it is in a way slap on our face that you go do your own thing and you will be excluded from the capacity market, thereby burdening the ratepayers of the state of New Jersey. It does a lot of harm, and so it is our responsibility now to see how we can counter that. Of course, I have not seen the FERC order yet, but they cannot stop us from what we are planning to do in this journey. Along with Governor Murphy, we want to make sure that we are going to stick to our principles of 50% renewable energy by 2030 and 100% the clean energy by 2050.
Thank you.
Also, I just want to wish all the members of the staff and the audience and very, very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, and all those festivals.
Thank you. Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to just take note of another event which is probably not going to affect the energy markets in any way, neither the capacity market or the regular energy market, but I think it's an event worth noting, and that is the birth of your grandson.
Oh, thank you.
And I'd just like to offer my congratulations.
Thank you
for that.
Appreciate that. And as I said to Commissioner Solomon, I'm not sure that the world is ready for 3 Joe Fiordalisos, but they got them.
What's middle name, Moper?
Moper. Yes.
Yeah, I also wanted to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah. With respect to Hanukkah, which begins Sunday night, there's always a lot of confusion as to, Hanukkah being, the Jewish Christmas. But in actuality, Hanukkah, as a word, actually means rededication. It was the rededication of the temple at the time, and it's a time for all of us to rededicate ourselves to the goals, missions, our beliefs, and hear what we do at the board. So I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Hanukkah, and dedicating yourselves in the upcoming year.
Thank you. And I too would like to, whatever you observe, whatever you celebrate, I wish you all peace, joy in the coming year and during this wonderful season. And the thing that I think, can really achieve, there's a great song, that let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let it begin with you. Thank you. All right. Any other comments? All right. Let's go to the regular agenda, Ms. Audits.
Good morning, Commissioners. This agenda item involves proposed amendments to NJAC 14:4, except specifically Subchapter 5, Energy Licensing and Registration. On May 10th, 2019, Governor Phil Murphy signed bills S-604 and S-605, which is PL 2019, Chapters 100 through 101, into law. The law provides that third-party electric power and natural gas supplier licenses issued by the Board of Public Utilities shall not expire so long as the licensee pays to the board a license renewal fee accompanied by a timely and complete annual information update on a form prescribed by the board. The rule changes reflect the new law and provide for other modifications that will make the licensing and registration process more efficient. Under the proposed rules, the board will still have the authority to deny, suspend, or revoke a license or registration at any time. Staff recommends that the board authorize publication of the proposed regulations in the New Jersey Register for public comment.
Second.
Comments? Questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, James. That brings us to Energy, 2A, regarding ACE's transmission system operations control function.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Stacy.
Agenda item 2A relates to a July 22nd petition filed by ACE seeking approval of a plan to relocate its transmission system control function from Mays Landing to a new transmission system operation facility located in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. The petition sought authority to consolidate ACE's transmission control function with that of Delmarva Power and Light and Philadelphia Electric Company at the TSO North facility. ACE also sought authority to purchase the TSO North facility, including a building and adjacent parcels of land, and to own and operate it jointly with Delmarva and PECO, as well as the authority to lease the facility on an interim basis to certain Exelon affiliates. Comments and reply comments were received from Rate Counsel and ACE. Rate Counsel has opposed the transaction, citing a lack of direction from NERC, concerns regarding communication, the potential impact on employees, and the prudency of costs related to the consolidation. Staff recommends the Board approve the relocation and consolidation of the transmission system operations from Mays Landing to Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, subject to certain conditions. Additionally, staff recommends the Board approve the proposed lease agreement, subject to certain conditions.
So moved.
Questions? Yes.
There are 17 employees currently at the Mays Landing facility that will be offered to transfer to the Kennett Square facility. ACE anticipates that around 10 of them will. Any employee choosing not to transfer will remain in Mays Landing in a distribution function, but there will be no elimination of positions. Will do.
Any other questions? Yes.
I believe it is worth noting that this consolidation will have the effect of hardening the facility and improving its security from cyber attacks and other threats.
Correct.
Thank you. Your mic's not working?
I think we have more than 2 or 3 on.
It will kick out. Okay. I feel overloaded. Yes. Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2B, another Atlantic City Electric, Stace?
Yes. On October 31st, Atlantic City Electric filed a petition seeking authority to maintain its administrative fee and rider reggie charge associated with the company's SREC 2 program. The company's SREC 2 program was approved by board order dated December 18th of 2013, and the administrative fee for SREC 2 program participants was set at $17.07 per SREC. According to ACE, using the cost recovery provisions from the 2013 order, the company would have to increase the administrative fee to $118.45 per SREC, which may cause participants to withdraw from the program. In the petition, ACE requested authorization to carry forward unrecovered administrative fee balances for recovery in future annual periods and maintain the fee at $17.07 per SREC for calendar year 2020, and propose to maintain the rider reggie rate at 0. Staff recommends the board issue an order continuing the administrative fee for the SREC 2 program at the board's previously approved $17.07 for calendar year 2020. The parties will continue to review all other issues related to the petition.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Brings us to 2C, regarding JCP&L on a similar matter.
Correct. On July 11th of this year, JCP&L filed a petition seeking review and approval of the deferred balances accumulated with respect to the amount the company incurred under board-approved demand response and renewable energy programs during calendar year 2018. The petition requested approval to decrease JCP&L's overall rider RRC rate, which would result in a decrease of approximately $4.5 million per year in revenues. The petition also requested authorization to carry forward unrecovered administrative fee balances for recovery in future periods and maintain the SREC 2 administrative fee at $17 per purchased SREC for calendar year 2020. Following a review of the petition and discovery, the parties executed a stipulation requesting the board authorize the reduction of the rider RRC rate to 0 for service effective January 1st, 2020. Additionally, the stipulation will allow JCP&L to maintain the SREC 2 admin fee at $17 per SREC for calendar year 2020. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer will see a decrease in their monthly bill of 18 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing JCP&L to file revised tariffs by January 1st.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2D, again, JCP&L Solar Pilot.
So PSE&G. Yes. We can pretend if you want to, though.
I'm sorry. I misread. I was reading the wrong one. This is for PSE&G, in case you didn't know.
I'll remember that. Thank you, though. On June 24th, PSE&G filed a petition seeking approval of a decrease in its solar pilot recovery charge rate. The filing requested a decrease in the SPRC revenues of approximately $1.3 million and were designed to recover approximately $5.9 million in revenues on an annual basis. PSE&G subsequently updated the revenue requirement to include actual information through September 30th, and based on the update, the total revenue to be recovered was approximately $5.8 million. Following a review of the petition, the parties executed a stipulation requesting the board approve the proposed decrease based on the updated revenue requirement. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer will see a decrease in their annual bill of 28 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by January 1st.
So moved.
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, it is called the solar, what is it called? The solar pilot recovery charge. This pilot seems to be going on for a long time, yeah? Because of the loan terms.
Yeah, they were 10 or 15-year loans. I'm not sure why it was termed solar pilot recovery charge, but I mean.
Because, pilots usually have a life. This life it's like a keeps
it will
on
end at some point.
Keeps on coming.
It's a long pilot.
Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2E, sale of property by PSE&G.
On September 4th, PS filed a petition seeking approval of a contract for sale of property located in Andover, New Jersey, for a purchase price of $2 million. The property consists of 101 acres of land, 3 residential dwellings, as well as an airplane hangar, garages, and sheds. PS purchased the property in December 2012 for $3.5 million in order to construct a segment of the Susquehanna-Roseland electric transmission line. At the time of the purchase, the property was an active private airport, and the owner had the property listed for sale. PSE&G needed to decommission and close airport activities on the property because the new electric transmission towers made safe takeoff and landing of small aircraft impossible. After purchasing the property, PS used it during construction of the Susquehanna-Roseland line as a laydown and construction yard and to launch and land helicopters in support of constructing the project. PS represents the property is no longer used or useful as the project has been completed and is fully in service. PS further represented that selling the property will not compromise its ability to provide safe, adequate, and reliable service. At the time of the closing, PS intends to record a deed restriction on the property that will prohibit its use as a public or private airport or for any other aeronautical use. Rate Counsel filed comments indicating it did not object to the sale of the property. However, Rate Counsel recommended the accounting for the proceeds of the sale, the loss in value between the purchase and the sale of the property, and the decommissioning costs and carrying costs for the property be reviewed in PSE&G's next base rate filing or another appropriate proceeding. Rate Counsel also requested the approval include certain conditions which have been incorporated into the draft board order. Staff recommends the board approve the property sale, subject to the conditions set forth in the draft board order.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2F, Stace, another PSE&G?
Yes. On April 26th, PS filed a petition seeking approval to increase its electric non-utility generation charge. The company's NGC rates are intended to recover the difference between contract set prices at which the company purchases generation from non-utility generators and the market price that the energy is sold for by PJM. The rates proposed in the petition were designed to increase revenues by $8.93 million on an annual basis. In July, the board approved a stipulation to implement an NGC rate of 0 on a provisional basis to provide the parties additional time to complete a review of the petition. As a result of the order, PS implemented a rate of 0, which was expected to increase revenues by $3.5 million. As a result of that order, a typical residential customer's annual bill increased by 60 cents. PS subsequently updated the information for actual results through August, which supported a slightly lower revenue requirement. Following review of the petition and discovery, the parties executed a stipulation requesting PS be authorized to implement an NGC rate consistent with the updates provided by PS. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential customer will experience an increase in their annual bill of 96 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order approving the stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by January 1st.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2G, Rockland Electric?
On February 5th, Rockland Electric filed a petition seeking authority to maintain the administrative fee related to the company's SREC 2 program and to establish the RGGI surcharge associated with the program. The program was approved in December 2013, and the administrative fee was set at $30 per SREC. According to Rockland, using the cost recovery provisions from that order, the company would have to increase the administrative fee to $57.28. RICO requested authority to carry forward any unrecovered balance for recovery in future periods and maintain the fee at $30. Rockland also proposed to establish the RGGI surcharge rate at 0 related to direct program costs. Bless you. Following a review of the petition and discovery, the parties executed a stipulation recommending the board maintain the SREC 2 fee at $30 for the remainder of calendar year 2019 and for calendar year 2020, and to establish the RGGI surcharge rate initially at 0. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing Rockland to file revised tariffs by January 1st.
So moved.
Questions?
Just a quick question. One of the major issues, is ensuring consistency with the previous board orders. I think we are on top of that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2H, Rockland Electric rates?
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. On October 7th, 2019, Navigant Consulting was retained by the board to first conduct a cost-benefit analysis of the advanced metering infrastructure program of Rockland Electric Company, and then second, conduct a nationwide AMI gold standard analysis of AMI. On November 6th, Navigant filed the capstone report, and on November 13th, at the board agenda meeting, you voted in favor of accepting that report, and it was been made public on the board's website. On November 27th, Navigant filed its second report entitled AMI Gold Standards Report, an assessment of the smart metering landscape. At this time, staff is recommending that this AMI Gold Standards Report be accepted for filing purposes and be made available to the public via posting on the board's website.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Brings us down to 2I, FERC matters. FERC matters.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
First, I just wanted to say thank you for your remarks yesterday. While I was in Washington, D.C., my staff were here at the office doing a tremendous amount of work, briefing commissioners and following up on all of this to make sure that you had the most up-to-date information as it was breaking. So I very much want to say thank you to Joe DeLosa and Emily Smithman from my staff. We are a small staff, but we are feisty and we'll keep up the fight. With that, I wanted to turn our attention to item 2I, which is a FERC matter. This is board staff requesting ratification of comments that we filed with a small coalition regarding a notice of proposed rulemaking that had been issued by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission on the Public Utilities Regulatory Policy Act of 1978. This is legislation that was passed during the energy crisis, and it was intended to encourage development of more clean energy resources. The regulation of it has not been substantially modified in many decades. And just yesterday, Chairman Chatterjee of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission identified that this is one of the achievements of which he is most proud this year. However, certain clean energy advocates, as well as the coalition of parties that staff joined with, do have some concerns that the increased flexibility that the FERC is proposing in this notice of proposed rulemaking may actually thwart some of those objectives of achieving a clean energy future. Therefore, we did file these comments, and we look forward to further developments in this in 2020. Staff is thus recommending that the board ratify the comments that we filed at this time.
So moved.
Questions, comments?
The question on avoided costs, maybe can you elaborate on avoided costs? Yeah.
In the proposed rulemaking, FERC is trying to kind of clarify a practice that many states have already used, and they're defining avoided costs as locational marginal price. So that's what the energy market uses currently. However, many states have struggled with defining. Many states have struggled with defining what avoided cost is, and that has been very problematic in the implementation of PURPA across the country. PURPA, P-U-R-P-A.
Any other questions, comments? Roll call, please.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Brings us down to 2J, motion filed by Rate Counsel.
Good morning, Commissioners. This matter arises from the Board's order dated February 27 of this year, wherein the Board directed staff to initiate a stakeholder proceeding to discuss whether there is sufficient gas capacity in New Jersey to meet the needs of the residents, and to investigate the effectiveness of energy competition and the extent third-party suppliers are an economical option for residential customers. Staff created questions for response and saw comments by interested parties and noticed on the Board's website. On October 1st of 2019, a stakeholder meeting was held. Following the stakeholder meeting, comments were received, including comments from New Jersey Natural Gas. Attached to the New Jersey Natural Gas comments was a technical report from consultant Leviton and Associates. Leviton also filed their own comments, which effectively summarized the report appended to the New Jersey Natural Gas comments. New Jersey Rate Council now moves to first strike the Leviton comments and the Leviton report on the basis of a perceived conflict, and two, request that the board seek the opinion of the State Ethics Commission as to whether Leviton may continue to serve as a consultant to the BPU under its existing contracts. Staff has recommended to deny Rate Council's motions.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Yes.
My comments are not directly on this issue of alleged conflict, but relate to the subject of gas capacity. As we all know, we've received consulting reports with diametrically different conclusions. One saying that there is no gas capacity problem, others saying that in fact there are. And my personal view is I think it would be very helpful if the board considered retaining an independent consultant to give us an objective analysis of this question, since it is going to have such an important impact on decisions that we're going to be making on infrastructure. So I just throw that out for the board's consideration.
Thank you. And their staff is currently investigating just what you mentioned, looking out there for a consultant, which will, if they find someone who can supply the information we need, they will bring it before us, and then we can move forward. Because you're right, there are conflicting opinions here, and we don't know, honestly. And so here's where a private consultant might be helpful to us. Thank you. Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you. And that brings us to cable TV. Lawanda. And as you will recall, this was one of the items we discussed in executive session, and it regards Altice USA. The floor is yours.
Good morning, President. Good morning, Commissioners. Before I begin, I'd just like to also offer my congratulations to you, President, on your new addition.
Thank you.
And I would note that if your grandson follows in your footsteps, I think the world will be much better with more Joe Fiordalisos.
Thank you.
As you just stated, this matter involves Altice. On November 26, 2019, Altice USA filed a motion to stay the board's November 13, 2019 cease and desist order, requiring Altice to audit its records and issue refunds within 60 days to all customers affected by their failure to prorate final customer bills. Staff has reviewed the motion and finds Altice's motion fails to meet the legal criteria for a grant of a stay and recommends the board deny the stay. By way of background, this matter involves Altice's decision to discontinue proration of final customer bills in October 2016. Altice claims it received that authority to change its prorating policy under a 2011 board order, which approved the request of Altice's predecessor, Cablevision, for relief of certain board rules. On December 18, 2018, the board issued an order to show cause against Altice, requiring they provide proofs as to why its failure to prorate bills should not immediately be discontinued, why the board should not find Altice's actions violate both the board's 2011 rural relief order, the board's 2016 order approving the acquisition of Cablevision by Altice, referred to as the merger order, and why the board should issue a penalty for Altice's failure to prorate customer bills. On November 13, 2019, the board issued a cease and desist order against Altice, finding the company did violate both the rural relief order, the merger order, and required Altice to issue refunds to customers so affected. On November 26, 2019, Altice filed a motion with the board seeking to stay the board's cease and desist order and the requirements described above to audit its records and provide refunds to customers. Altice also requested a waiver of the bond requirement under the court's rules. I would note that on the same day, Altice simultaneously filed a notice of appeal in the New Jersey Superior Court Appellate Division seeking an appeal of the board's cease and desist order. Additionally, on December 13, 2019, Altice filed a complaint for permanent injunctive relief and a declaratory relief TRO in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Jersey, seeking relief from the board's cease and desist order as well. In both the state and federal filings, Altice provides the same arguments from its answer to the order to show cause issued by the board, alleging that the company received relief from its 2011 rule relief order. Under the motion before you today, any party seeking injunctive relief, such as a stay of a board order, bears the burden of establishing 4 factors under existing case law established in the Crow v. DeGoya decision. Altice is required to show, 1, they will suffer immediate and irreparable harm if the emergency relief is not granted. 2, the legal right underlying their claim is well settled. 3, there is reasonable probability that they will succeed on the merits. And 4, the balance of equities in granting or denying relief weighs in their favor. Altice contends in its brief that they meet all the required factors. They claim they will suffer irreparable harm if the board does not stay the order. They indicate that that complying with the order will require a special carve-out of its standard policy where New Jersey's billing systems would have to be modified, separate quality controls implemented, contracted and in-house customer service reps retrained, terms of services modified, and notice to customers provided, all of which they indicate would come at an expense of $5 million. Altice contends it also has no way of contacting and refunding former customers subject to the board's order, a majority of which they claim have moved. These costs, Altice argues, are not recoverable upon a favorable determination by the court, and Altice believes they would constitute irreparable harm. Altice claims they meet the second prong of the test, the legal right underlying their claim being well settled, based on its proposition that the predecessor, Cablevision, received a blanket waiver of the board's rules requiring proration at NJAC 14:18-3.8 in 2011. Altice is also confident there's a reasonable probability of success in its challenge as required under prong 3, stating that the board in its rule relief order exempted them from proration requirements and that proration also constitutes rule regulation which is preempted by federal law. Under the fourth prong, which requires that public interests favor a stay, Altice claims that the remedy is only postponed and therefore no additional harm would result in the case of a stay. They also argue that proration will create confusion and ill will among its customers since they would have to change the policy were they successful in their appeal. On December 9, 2019, Rate Counsel filed a brief in opposition to Altice's motion, stating that Altice failed to meet the criteria. Rate Counsel argues that a mere recitation of Altice's underlying theories is insufficient to meet the burden of proof for injunctive relief. They also refute the claim that Altice's proration policy will engender ill will from its customers. To the contrary, Rate Counsel states Altice's reinstatement of the bill proration as required by board regulations will promote increased customer satisfaction and resolve the many complaints received when the company discontinued this practice. The alleged financial harm, which is described in Altice's motion, Rate Counsel refutes as being self-inflicted. The facts in the applicable law do not support the relief requested, and continued noncompliance with the proration policy is not in the public interest. On December 16, 2019, Altice responded to Rate Counsel's comments, basically restating their previous claims. In reviewing the request for injunctive relief, as I stated earlier, the board may only grant the remedy for good cause shown. if they have met the burden of clearly and convincingly demonstrating that they satisfied the 4 criteria. Regarding the first prong, irreparable harm, while Altice points to the cost it claims it will incur, New Jersey case law clearly states that mere monetary loss does not alone constitute irreparable harm. Altice's arguments focus on concerns over the substantial cost and burdens of changing their billing process. However, Altice's arguments are not persuasive, as none of these arguments relieve Altice of its obligations to continue to operate under current New Jersey rules and regulations. Case law advises that a stay is not a matter of right, even if irreparable harm may otherwise result. It requires an exercise of sound judicial discretion. The propriety of its issue is dependent upon the entire circumstances of a particular case and consideration of justice, equity, and morality. In this instance, Altice unilaterally opted to change its billing structure to conform with its practices in other states. Altice implemented this shift without notice or approval of the board. Prior to 2016, Altice continued to prorate its bills, consistent with New Jersey law, from 2011 through 2016, and thereby established the ability to do so. Additionally, Altice states in its petition that it still has the ability to issue prorated refunds in what they refer to as, quote, limited or extraordinary circumstances, which they do not define. So it is clear that Altice still has the ability to prorate refunds. The board's focus in its consideration of justice, equality, and morality must be aimed at rectifying the harm suffered by New Jersey customers who were wrongfully billed and ensuring they are made whole through the means outlined in the board's cease and desist order. Similarly, Altice contends there's a reasonable basis upon which they will prevail on their merits. Those arguments similarly are meritless. Altice fails to establish a credible nexus between traditional rate regulation and prorating a customer's bill in its argument that proration equals rate regulation. The consumer protections provided for in the rules governing cable operators do not constitute rate regulation, and Altice's challenges of these rules under the guise of rate regulation is unavailing. Continued enforcement of the proration requirement, Altice alleges, will also put them at a marketplace disadvantage. This contention is also disingenuous, as Altice, unlike its competitor Verizon, stands alone in its failure to prorate customers in New Jersey. To the contrary, permitting the company to continue this practice would place them at a competitive advantage over other providers within the state. Further, Altice believes the waiver issued by the board could only have served to relieve them from prorating, arguing that the Rule 14:18-3.8 is a single issue rule. Staff disagrees. Notwithstanding the sample bill submitted by Altice during the board's review of the waiver petition, which reflected proration, a representation which the board relied upon in issuing the waiver order, the rule also contains additional provisions that companies must continue to abide by. Having reviewed the record and carefully considering the positions set forth by the parties, staff finds that Altice has failed to meet its burden of proof that injunctive relief is necessary in this instance, and therefore recommends that the board deny Altice's motion for a stay of the board's cease and desist order. With respect to the request for a waiver of the bond requirement, because Altice has demonstrated it possesses sufficient financial means to sustain an unfavorable outcome on appeal, staff recommends approval of the plea for relief from the filing of the bond.
So moved.
Comments?
You had a question.
I just want to, for the record, say I'm not going to make any comments since this is now pending litigation. So, yes.
I just have a question, yeah. What is the amount in dispute? You know, if you do the proration, how much money they have to put out?
That amount was one of the requirements that was under the cease and desist order.
Oh, okay.
Altice would have been required to audit their records and provide us with a correct amount of the refunds that are due.
What are the demographics of the customer base? You know, are they? affluent, middle, low income? How's that?
They're the second largest carrier in New Jersey, and they have their service territory ranges from the northern counties through down to the southern counties, so they cover a very large swath of the state.
Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you, Luanda. There are no items under telecommunications. We do have a couple of items under water. Michael? We're underwater. 5A regarding Aqua.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
On the first matter on the agenda underwater is for Aqua Maxim's wastewater division. On August 15th, 2019, Aqua New Jersey Maxim's wastewater division filed a petition with the board for approval of a purchased sewage treatment adjustment clause, or PSTAC true-up, for the calendar year 2019 and to set rates prospectively for calendar year 2020. Maxim serves approximately 2,500 wastewater customers in a portion of Howell Township in Monmouth County. Maxim is engaged in the collection and transmission of sewage. The Ocean County Utilities Authority receives and treats all of the sewage transmitted by Maxim. The board transmitted this matter to the Office of Administrative Law for hearings, and the OAL assigned Administrative Law Judge Jacob Gertzman to hear the matter. On November 6, 2019, the public hearing was held in the Howell Township Municipal Building, which Judge Gertzman presided over. No members of the public appeared. After serving discovery upon Maxim, staff and rate counsel and Maxim engaged in settlement discussions and agreed to a settlement that results in a settlement of all issues in the case. The parties entered into and executed a stipulation which sets rates for 2020. The current PSTAC will increase by approximately $162,000, and for the average residential customer, the total annual flat PSTAC rate will increase from $321.24 to $381.92, or approximately 18%. Judge Gertzman issued an initial decision recommending that the board adopt the stipulation, and staff recommends that the board adopt Judge Gertzman's initial decision.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Yes.
Yeah, the PSTAC, the Purchase Sewage Treatment Adjustment Clause, how often is it used?
It's adjusted annually, and it's based on partially forecasted data and partially actual data, and so it has to be adjusted up or down every year. And sometimes the customers are due a refund based on the estimated data becoming actual, and sometimes they're due an increase. And in this case, it resulted in an increase.
It only comes up when you are selling your sewage to some company, right?
Yes.
Like there are a few treatment agencies like that. Yeah.
Very few sewer companies, wastewater companies in New Jersey treat their own sewage. In the late 70s and early 80s, the Department of Environmental Protection, because of the Clean Water Act, and the board and the various sewer companies agreed to regionalize the treatment. It's easier to have one big treatment plant as opposed to many small treatment plants with the capital needs and the resulting potential environmental issues. So most companies transmit their storage to a regional entity for treatment.
Okay. Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula? Yes. Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelliso?
Yes, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we'll continue when we come back. What's that? Yeah, I have to go to dance. Okay. Thank you for your indulgence. And thank you for your patience,
Oh, you're
Mr.
very
Cameron.
welcome.
So that brings us to 5B.
For 5B, we're moving from the south central part of the state to the northwestern part of the state. Aqua New Jersey's Wallkill Division specifically. On August 15th, 2019, Aqua New Jersey's Wallkill Division filed a petition requesting to change the level of its purchased wastewater treatment adjustment clause for costs associated with and revenues associated for the calendar year 2018 and to set prospective rates for calendar year 2020. Aqua Wallkill is engaged in the collection and transmission of sewage to approximately 409 customers excuse me, within a portion of its sewer territory in the township of Hardyston in Sussex County. Aqua Wallkill sewage is transmitted to the Sussex County Municipal Utilities Authority, or SCUMA, for treatment. The board transmitted this matter to the Office of Administrative Law, and the case was assigned to Administrative Law Judge Ernest Bongiovanni. On August 20th, 2019, ALJ Bongiovanni presided over a public hearing in Franklin Township, New Jersey. No members of the public appeared at the hearing to provide comments. The petitioner, the Division of Rate Counsel, and board staff held a number of settlement conferences and exchanged discovery and reached an agreement that has been memorialized in a stipulation. There were no interveners in this matter. The stipulation agrees to an approximately $9,000 increase in petitioner's P-stack revenues. For the average residential customer, the P-stack rate will increase from $5.08 per 1,000 gallons of water used to $5.42 per 1,000 gallons of water used, which is an increase of approximately 34 cents or approximately 6.73%. ALJ Bongiovanni issued an initial decision recommending that the board adopt the stipulation, and staff recommends that the board adopt ALJ Bongiovanni's initial decision.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Commissioner, I have any questions? Okay. Roll call.
Otherwise, you'll call a break.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you, Michael. That brings us to reliability and security. An alleged violation of pipeline safety. Jim?
Yes, sir. Hello, Commissioners. With item 6A, with this matter, we're asking the board to accept a penalty settlement with South Jersey Gas for certain violations of the pipeline safety rules. On October 20th, 2017, board staff conducted a construction inspection of plastic service installations performed by Crown Pipeline Construction, contractor for South Jersey Gas in West Deptford. During the inspection, staff observed a Crown employee performing electrofusion welds, joint pipe welding. Based on that inspection, it was determined that Crown employees were performing these welds without the proper operator qualifications required by both state and federal law. Our investigation further disclosed that Crown Construction performed 68 fusions with workers lacking the proper qualifications. Staff directed that the joint fusions be examined, retested, and remediated as necessary by qualified workers. South Jersey Gas terminated Crown Pipeline Construction when this was discovered. Staff then issued probable violation notices to the company. A settlement was reached addressing these violations, in which the utility will pay a penalty of $105,000 to the state, enhance its oversight of contract workers, and upgrade its computer system to incorporate a more effective capability to search for any construction work that's done by specific contractors, and that will be done by the end of the year. So we think this is a good settlement. It sends the right message, so we're recommending that you approve.
So moved.
Questions, comments?
I
Yes.
just want to, this one area, you may want to fix the typo, yeah. I think it's page 2, it says BPS, it should be BPU.
Oh, maybe they mean Bureau of Pipeline Safety. Okay,
Huh?
I'll look at that.
Yeah, Bureau of Public Safety, is that what it is?
Pipeline Safety, yes.
Pipeline, okay.
Pipeline
Okay,
safety.
that's what, I
I'll
just
take a
wanna
look
make
at that, though, I will.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I also just, wanted to say how important it is that we continue to have, a workforce that's able to go out and do these inspections. And, that's really important that we as a board make sure that we continue to go out and provide the service on behalf of the public to ensure the safety of this system. So, thanks to your staff member who, picked up on this. I understand it was a trainee.
A trainee actually initiated it with a supervisor on site, so. And Juan Urena is in the back, he's our acting chief, did an outstanding job on this as well.
Right. So, this is a very important, service that we provide. We have to make sure that we maintain the ability to do that type of work.
Ditto. Yes.
And even though no one was hurt, the point is that it's a clear settlement amount, it's a clear violation, sends a very strong message that we're serious about this and upholding our rules and national rules.
Any other comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you, Jim. It brings us to customer assistance, where we have 2 items, both billing disputes. How unusual.
Surprise, surprise.
Yes. 7A first, Julie.
7A is a billing dispute between One Stop Realty and Jersey Central Power and Light. The petition was filed in August of 2018 and transmitted to the OAL on October 30th. One Stop Realty alleged that JCP&L incorrectly billed their account $734.96. JCP&L in his answer contended that One Stop was the beneficiary and end user of the unauthorized service at the time its lease commenced until service was disconnected, and therefore is responsible to pay the charges for the unauthorized use pursuant to the terms of its company's tariff. JCP&L requested that the release sought be denied and that the petition be dismissed with prejudice. ALJ Jeffrey R. Wilson filed his initial decision with the board on November 12th, and its initial decision concluded that the evidence presented at the hearing demonstrated that One Stop continued to utilize the unauthorized electric service between the time that the certificate of inspection and certificate of continued occupancy were issued until the service was disconnected. Accordingly, ALJ Wilson further concluded that the billing to One Stop for unauthorized usage was appropriate, and ruled that the petition be dismissed and One Stop pay the JCP&L company $734.96 amount in dispute. Staff has completed its review and recommends that the board adopt the initial decision.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Yes.
I guess it's One Stop now, right? So, okay.
Yes. Yes. Okay, the second billing dispute is between Sarah.
Oh, we have to vote on
Oh,
this.
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
That's a-
I'm trying to get out of the way really quick.
Yeah, I know. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Now, Julie,
My turn.
your turn.
This matter, the second billing dispute in regards to the billing dispute between Sir Ribijit Cower and Jersey Central Power and Light. The petitioner alleged that JCP&L incorrectly billed her account from 2006 to 2010. She stated that she received bills exceeding an amount she felt responsible for. JCP&L, in its answer, contended that the services were supplied and billed in accordance with its terms and conditions and rate schedules. While the case was pending at the OAL, JCP&L filed a motion for summary decision. The motion sought to dismiss the petition, contending that petitioner failed to state a claim upon which relief could be granted. In particular, respondent argued that the petitioner failed to provide any invoices or documentation evidencing about $6,000 in proper charges between 2006 and 2010. And furthermore, highlighted that petitioner acknowledged that her meter was functioning correctly. ALJ Susan Olgiati filed an initial decision with the board, and in her initial decision concluded that Ms. Carroll failed to provide any competent evidence demonstrating a genuine issue of material fact which precludes summary decision, and further concluded that any relief sought by Ms. Carroll is barred by respondent's tariff, as the disputed billing falls well beyond the 6-year period in which billing adjustment, if any, may be made. Accordingly, the motion for summary decision filed by JCP&L was approved, and staff recommends review. In its review, we recommends approval of the initial decision.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelisa?
Yes. That brings us now to clean energy. 8A, energy efficiency incentives exceeding $500,000. Hello, Ben.
Good morning. Item 8A concerns an application submitted under the Combined Heat and Power and Fuel Cell Program requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $1,162,700. The application covers the installation of a CHP system, which Combined Heat and Power System, at the Vineland Veterans Memorial Home in Vineland, New Jersey, and has a total cost of $4,060,121. This system incorporates black start and islanding capabilities, which allows the facility to operate in the event of a blackout or any other event where it might become disconnected from the grid. Annually, the system is anticipated to generate 4,419,226.3 kilowatt hours of electricity and utilize 13,855 MMBTUs in waste heat. The system's thermal output will be utilized to serve the facility's space heating and space cooling needs. This is projected to save the facility $590,869 in energy costs annually. Additionally, this application is being pursued via the Energy Savings Improvement Program, or ESIP. The payback period without incentives in ESIP would be 6.87 years, and when factoring in the incentives in ESIP, the payback period is reduced to 4.9 years. And so staff recommends approval of the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Yes.
Yeah, during our briefing, I had mentioned to you, I don't know whether you followed up with reliability, but, a lot of these projects now, thankfully have black start capability, and given our propensity towards, outage events here in New Jersey, I had suggested that, there should be a listing, or I don't know whether in an emergency management as part of this regularity have a listing of locations that have black start capability and it might be available to the public, or at least the municipalities be made aware that they have these facilities available in their area in the event of an emergency. So, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to, check with reliability or see if that is a list that is currently being maintained, but that's certainly something that should be made available so that these facilities are made known to the general public as well.
Good point. Good point. Did Jim leave? Could you check with reliability and see?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
we are working on that. We are also working with the Department of Energy on different CHP projects that have the Black Start capability, and hoping to be able to update our website so that folks have that information as well in the future.
Excellent. Thank you. 8B, C, and D were all discussed in executive session, so let's do 8B first. Oh, we didn't vote on this yet? Why not? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula? Yes. Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelisa?
Yes. It brings us to 8B, and as I said before, B, C, and D were all discussed in executive session. So 8B, Jim?
Good morning again, Mr. President, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This item is for a proposed extension of the contract between the Board and the Rutgers University Department of Marine and Coastal Sciences for the period from January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, contingent on funding. The work of the contract generally involves maintaining and running the Rutgers University Weather Research and Forecasting Modeling Program, which is used to analyze and predict the coastal weather patterns, extreme storm events, and the coastal offshore wind resource for the state of New Jersey. The Rutgers model is designed specifically for the unique meteorological and oceanographic conditions associated with the Mid-Atlantic region. All data from the model is available to the public at no charge and is used by offshore wind developers and other offshore wind stakeholders. The Board has funded this work for the past several years. This new contract extension will provide funding for staffing and expertise and resources necessary to continue to operate, maintain, and validate the model, to expand their research studies and stakeholder engagement, and to support the offshore wind strategic plan. Central to many of the tasks in the contract for 2020 is expanding outreach to key stakeholders to further expand the use and understanding of the model data and activities, with a goal of transitioning to a funding model that includes additional supporters of the work. Staff recommends that the Board approve the extension of the contract with Rutgers Department of Marine and Coastal Sciences as discussed today in executive session.
So moved. Second.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelisa?
Yes. Thank you, Jim. Jessica, you're on 8B.
I'm going to keep this pretty short because we discussed
8C,
in executive session. Oh, sorry. I'm going to keep it short because we discussed in executive session, but I'm, of course, happy to answer any questions. Pursuant to the discussion
We
earlier,
like short and sweet. It's good.
Pursuant to the discussion earlier in executive session, staff is recommending that you approve the amendment to the contract for evaluation and research services between the Board of Public Utilities through the Office of Clean Energy and the Rutgers Center for Green Building, and authorize President Fiordaliso to execute the contract amendment on behalf of the Board.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorelisa?
Yes. Thank you, Jessica. 8D, Community Solar.
Morning, Mr. President. Morning, Commissioners.
Hello.
So it is with great pleasure that I present to you item 8D in the matter of the Community Solar Energy Pilot Program. More specifically, this matter pertains to the award of projects for the first year of the pilot program. These matters were discussed in executive session, so I will keep my presentation as brief as possible. However, I will say that applications, as you know, for the first year of the pilot program were accepted until 5 p.m. on September 9th, 2019. At that time, the Board received a total of 252 applications, representing just shy of 652 megawatts. Upon receipt, applications were reviewed for administrative completeness, Complete applications were scored based on the evaluation rubric that was published as part of the application form and ranked by EDC service territory in order of their scores. The projects that scored the highest are the ones we are presenting to you today. Before I continue with staff's recommended list of project conditional approvals, I would like to just take a moment to say that this first year of the pilot program would not have been possible without the work of many people here at the board. And in particular, I would like to recognize and thank our colleagues from the mailroom, the Division of Case Management, the Division of Energy, the Deputy Attorney Generals from the Division of Law, the BPU Legal Division, the Department of Environmental Protection, the entire Division of Clean Energy, every single member of whom has been involved in community solar in some way, shape, or form over the past year. And I would like to recognize the work of our colleagues on the Evaluation Committee who have stepped up time and time again to ensure that the applications were reviewed carefully and in a timely fashion. Therefore, in respect to item 8D, staff recommends that the board conditionally approve 45 community solar projects to be listed in appendices 1 through 45 of the draft community solar order and deny without prejudice the remaining 207 applications. The 45 projects recommended for conditional approval represent a cumulative capacity of 77.61048 megawatt DC. Their approvals would be conditional upon their being constructed and operated as they were proposed in their applications. And I would note that each and every single one of the projects recommended for conditional approval today are projects that have committed to providing at least 51% of their capacity to low and moderate income customers. Additionally, the proposed projects are located on landfills, brownfields, rooftops, and parking canopies. And if approved, the list of proposed projects would be attached, as I said, as appendices to the order, and the intent would be to release that today.
So moved.
I would also like to thank all of the folks that you mentioned. And it does demonstrate the need for teamwork, people to come together. And that is something that have been cultivating because what we're doing is extremely important. And the number of people involved in getting this to where we are today is really gratifying to see. And we're talking about people who have spent nights till 9, 10, 11 o'clock trying to get this done. And it's really a tribute to you and your colleagues and to public employees in general who do and go that extra mile. So I thank you, and I'm thrilled that we're initiating this right now. This is something that, as you say, will be located on brownfields, landfills, and so on, rooftops, and it's bringing the clean energy revolution to areas of our state. And my understanding is that the awards we're making today really cover every region of the state of New Jersey, from Atlantic City to Newark to wherever. And it's exciting to see this because we are creating environmental justice. We're trying to achieve that through this program, and certainly helps to advance the governor's goal of 100% clean energy by 2050. But more important, I think, is that it allows more folks to participate, and folks who, as I said before, may not have had that opportunity because of financial reasons or whatever. And to me, that's the exciting part of this. So again, I commend you, I commend Clean Energy Division, I commend all of the other divisions that contributed to this moment. So thank you very, very much. Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso.
Yes. 8E, SREC waiver for Newark School System.
Mr. President, with your permission, we're going to take the next several items as one in the description and then have separate votes on them.
Okay. So that's going to be E
through J.
Through J.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Good morning, Commissioners. As we said, the next 6 items involve SREC registration program applications, second extension requests for 6 Newark Board of Education schools. On August 27th, 2019, Easy Energy, NJ LLC, the petitioner submitted 6 petitions on behalf of the Newark Board of Education and Green Skies Renewable Energy LLC, its financing entity, requesting 4-month extensions for these 6 projects to April 2020 of the project completion date. These first extensions expired December 1st and December 5th. The 6 school projects are roof-mounted and carport projects for which the petitioner seeks these extensions. Since this is the second extension request, granting it will require a waiver of the board's rules at NJAC 14:8-2.4I, which limits applicants to a single 6-month extension of the initial conditional registration. Easy Energy submits that it took over a year to get approval for the bonds to finance the roof replacements that were required before the solar systems could be installed. In addition, the petitioner states that it had planned to install the carports during the summer, but the roof replacement installations prevented this from happening, and the Board of Education refused to allow the installation until the repairs to the roof had been completed. In addition, according to the petitioner, 2 high schools also had interconnection issues with PSE&G that not have been resolved, but they did delay the projects further. Then on September 27, 2019, Easy Energy amended its petition, now requesting an 8-month extension to August 31st, 2020. In support of their longer extension request, Easy Energy stated that the roof replacement work had not been completed until the end of the summer. At first, the Newark Board of Education would not allow Easy Energy to keep equipment at the school or take up any parking spots or drill holes for the carport pillars during the school year. The petitioner, in discussion with staff over its request for a second extension, initially stated that it would not be able to complete the construction for all 6 school systems simultaneously with the inclusion of the carport construction until the summer of 2020. The petition now confirms that after meeting with the Newark Planning Board and with the elimination of 1 carport system, it will be able to complete construction and obtain the permission to operate by these April 2020 dates. Easy Energy submits that these delays were unforeseeable and unavoidable. Staff recommends that the board find that Easy Energy has made substantial progress toward the project's completion and the delays were unavoidable and unforeseeable. However, in light of the 5.1 milestone anticipated to occur in mid-2020, staff recommends that the board grant the petitioner additional 4 months to achieve commercial operation of these projects and retain SREC eligibility provided that the 5.1 milestone does not occur prior to the project achieving commercial operation. Should the board determine that the 5.1 milestone has been attained prior to commencement of commercial operation and the project's commercial operations prior to the expiration of the 4-month extension, then the projects will be eligible in the Transition Incentive Program.
Okay.
So moved.
We're going to move each one individually?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So can I have a motion for E?
Consider that my motion.
Okay. And second, it was? Questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Motion for 8F, please.
So moved.
Questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Motion for 8G, please.
So moved.
Questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 8H, motion, please.
So moved.
Questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 8I,
So moved.
questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. And 8J,
So moved.
questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you, Ron. That brings us to 8K and 8L, both discussed in executive session. Ariane?
Hi. So 8K is in the matter of a petition by Radiant Energy, LLC, pertaining to a request for a waiver from a section of the Community Solar First Year Application Form. As we discussed in executive session, staff recommends that the board dismiss without prejudice Radiant Energy's request for a waiver.
So moved.
Questions, comments, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 8L, Kathleen?
I'll make this quick. As discussed in executive session, staff recommends that you move this forward so that we can move forward with an RFP for web design, development, hosting, and maintenance.
So moved.
How exciting this is. I mean, it's, you know, it's not a little thing because it's our exposure to the world. And it really is exciting that we are moving toward revamping it, updating it, and I guess bringing it to the 21st century, maybe? Yeah? Good.
We'll try.
So that's exciting to me. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
So, I didn't get to move it yet.
Oh, you didn't move it yet? Move
Did
it.
I move it?
Yes, you did.
Did we? All right, whatever. I'm so confused. Keep moving. Okay.
She moved it. Commissioner Solomon, second.
Okay.
Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula? Yes. Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes, I think we've had too much eggnog.
Not enough.
That brings us to miscellaneous item A. Thomas, and apparently when I see you, I think of Zex. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what
I seem to have that stigma these
Yeah.
days. Good morning, President. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here before you on item 9A basically because I was a little overzealous. Back in July, the board had directed staff to go ahead and initiate a stakeholder process for the forward steps necessary with the ZEC program and approval of 3 units for the program. Those steps included logistics for dry cask studies, 10-year study, how we were going to look at potential double funding of environmental attributes beyond the ZEC, also timeline and time frame and procedure for the second round of applications for eligibility determination. With the order, staff was directed to come back to the board before December, so hi. Unfortunately, I need to ask for an extension if we could, please. We did hold a stakeholder meeting, an open meeting in September, on September 4th. There were verbal comments received. We also got written comments. However, the comments were significant enough that we would like to take a thorough and good look at everything. We're also in the process of bringing Levitan back on board to re-engage them to assist staff with this, so we just need a little bit more time to make sure we do this properly. So staff is recommending that the board grant us that extension.
And also you're going to present the final ZEC program requirements
Yes, that is correct.
in March of 2020?
Yes, Commissioner.
Then I will move it.
Okay.
You didn't move it?
No, I said then I will move.
Oh, I'm sorry. Comments? Yes.
In light of the current decision that we received from FERC, I imagine, I don't know whether with respect to this program or what you're looking at, will be involved in some of those discussions, I would take?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, Commissioner,
Yeah,
because it
so-
will greatly impact not only the balance sheets for these plants, but what we would consider subsidies other than the state ZEC program itself. So it will be looked at in detail.
Right, so that,
One question. I see the dry cask study, but what about wet pools, where you have all the...
The dry cask study, Commissioner, is specifically called out because that was part of the act itself. Yes.
Did you have more, Diane?
just that, moving forward with this particular subsidy is, really going to be influenced by whatever comes out of this decision of where we need to move forward. So just to, everyone should be aware that, we're going to have to really take a hard look at where we go in the future with this type of issue.
Yep, indeed we will. And as staff continues to analyze the ZEC order, we're going to get a clearer picture of just how much of an effect. And I don't think we are optimistic that it's going to be to our liking, and so on, not only as far as the ZECs, but other areas of our renewable energy portfolio. So, roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes, and again, on behalf of the Board of Public Utilities, I wish you all a wonderful holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Thank you. Adjourned.